we all know that this has been going on for a while. There's talks that these conversations have been happening for the last 2 years. And so it's of no surprise that things seem like they escalated so quickly.
Right.
They didn't escalate quickly. There's been this ongoing conversation between Texas, OU, and the SEC for the past 18 months to 2 years.
Is that not collusion? Like you just like trying to slide into somebody's girl's DMs.
Well,
what's up with that?
so many things.
Not that I have experience in that. I'm a married
No,
man.
not at all.
well, I mean, Ryan was on yesterday, and he's got that law background. So many things you just have to prove. And so,
Right.
I don't know if that would be collusion per se, just because Texas or OU. They're keeping their contract supposedly until 2025, but they're hoping that the Big 12 will be disbanded and they won't have to pay $76 million a piece in exit fees. And so like there's so much behind the scenes that it's almost one of those things where it's like, if only I could be a fly on the wall with those meetings, right? There have been these meetings with the Big 12 and SEC and other, a couple other people in the room talking about expansion, college football expansion. Mm-hmm. But I just wonder what happened after those meetings when these conversations were happening about what will Texas and OU do when it comes to joining the SEC.
I would think you would be on the email chain.
Apparently they weren't.
Nah, man, no. That's what do they say? Above my pay grade.
Above your title grade as well.
Above my pay grade.
Here's the deal about it. Sam Acho, ESPN, NCAA NFL analyst, joining us here, giving us a straight talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. Here on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin with Bart Scott and Freddie Coleman on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. I even said this in terms of this is going to happen sooner than later. Paul Feinbaum and Greg McElroy said this could happen as soon as next year, 2022. When do you think it's going to happen?
Absolutely. It's not going to be 2025. I think this is going to happen 2022, obviously at the earliest, and honestly most likely. I think 2023, people are kind of saying it could happen then, but I think that's a little late. Mind you, conversations about college football playoff expansion have been occurring. They made an announcement a few weeks ago. Hey, this 12-team format, we think, this is Greg Sankey, who's the commissioner of the SEC, we think this is great for all of college football. That way it's not just the Power 5 conferences that are getting in the playoff. Now
wink,
you get
wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And now all of a sudden, as soon as that announcement gets made, now all of a sudden, well, we're going to add Texas and OU. We're going to form this super conference. And if you just look at some of the statistics, not even statistics, the projections, put it that way. In 2025, it's projected that Texas and that the SEC could generate $1.3 billion. The NCAA in 2025 as a whole will generate right around $1.3 billion. Bart and Freddie, as y'all know, money talks. Why would the SEC need to even stay a part of the NCAA when they're making that much money? And oh, by the way, how are you going to make that much money? You just signed a $3 billion deal with ESPN, right, starting in 2024. You're adding Texas and OU, and oh, by the way,
it's our fault, ESPN.
Well, oh, by the way, you're adding extra revenue, right? Think about it. There's so with a 12-team playoff, Nick Saban said this last week on Get Up. He said, man, you could be playing 16, maybe even 17 games as a college student.
Now that's where you have to recategorize, like, student athlete. It's just athlete, right? It's professional, athlete. If you're going to subject these kids to 17 games so that you can get your TV revenue, listen, that struggle is real over there, brother, with that earpiece. That earpiece is kicking your ass.
I know. I'm 0-1. I'm 0-1 with my earpiece, man. I'm losing the battle.
I love the fact how you coordinate. He like pops right there, man. You hit us with the outside. It's calm. Inside, it's a party. Inside,
it's a party going on.
It's a party. You got to coordinate.
I was thinking the same thing.
With my time and my clothes, got to coordinate.
Only thing we need is the
and we are in New York City with boomerangs. I was thinking the same thing when I saw the polka dots.
But I will say this with the Texas and OU moving to the SEC.
Yeah.
So I went to Texas. Mm-hmm. I played at Texas. The last time Texas won the Big 12, I was in that game. That was the last time the Texas won the national championship as well.
Subtle flex. Major flex.
Complete major flex.
Texas only cares about Texas.
Sure.
Let's just let that be abundantly clear. Texas will only do what's good for Texas. And you might say, well, shouldn't every school do that? We should do what's best for us. But the problem is, back in 2009 and 10, when there was this conference realignment, the most recent time, Texas got a chance to stay in the Big 12. And they got a chance to add this thing called the Longhorn Network, which the A&M, the Aggies, weren't happy about. And all of a sudden you get this exposure, you get all this money. That's an unfair advantage for us, so we're going to leave. And A&M left, and A&M became relatively successful in the SEC. They were 5th ranked overall, could have made the college football playoff. Now, all of a sudden, with Longhorn Network's got 10 more years on that deal, and Texas is like, well, you know what? Let's go make this money in the SEC, and we don't really care what you think about it at all. So when it comes to rivalries, I think this will reignite the rivalry when it comes to Texas and A&M.
Right.
But I still get a little bit perturbed and frustrated as a person who went to the university, and you're supposed to bleed orange, and our rivals are A&M and OU. We can't stand them.
New day, brother.
Now all of a sudden, A&M and OU are like at least OU, we're doing business with them. We're best of friends. We're joining forces to go to this vaunted SEC. And so I just get a little bit frustrated because as a Longhorn, this isn't as an ESPN analyst. This is not.
I get it.
This is as specifically as a Longhorn, someone who says, "Man, Texas, hook 'em horns," the whole thing. We've been taught to hate OU and can't stand A&M and all of these things, and now all of a sudden we're joining OU for the quote-unquote benefit of Texas. And yes, financially, there is a benefit, a major benefit. It's probably a billion reasons that we should join the SEC, all monetarily, of course. And yes, it does benefit Texas. But I just think, what does this do for the rest of not only the Big 12, the other 8 remaining teams, but what does it do for the rest of FBS, the rest of college football, the other 128 FBS teams that have football programs?
They don't care.
They don't care. It's going to turn into the Super League. And my thing is this. If college football turns into essentially the NFL, the Super League, I'm okay with that, but I just need some good leadership at the top. That's all that I need, because we've seen teams are raking in money, especially Texas. They are literally raking in the dough.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.